on, everybody? DH from Country Boy Brewing here with my new friend Monty McGregor from the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife. We're out here in my neck of the woods, northern Scott County, Sadieville area on the beautiful Eagle Creek. Monty, what are we doing today?
We're actually looking for freshwater mussels.
And look,
we found some.
lo and behold, what do we got here?
Well, we've got two different kinds. We've got the giant floater, which this species is fairly common in Kentucky. It's usually found in lakes and streams, but of course we've picked these up in this pool, which is like a small lake. And then we've got this fat mucket. This one here is actually fairly old. You can tell how old it is by looking at the rings, kind of like a tree. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. This has been here 12 years.
That's wild.
And this one's a little bit younger. It only lives about 7 or 8 years, maybe 9. And this one can live 25 or 30 years. So some of these guys are, if you look long enough out here, you can probably find some that are more like in the 40 to 50-year-old range.
Really? How old can they get to be?
This species can get about 30 years old, and then another species that's here in the stream that's called the three ridge can get 50, 60 years old, no question about it.
Wow. Now, I'm sad to say a little bit mussels kind of have faded to be found out in the wild. Why is that?
Well, they're filter feeders, and so one of the things that affects them more than anything is when we pollute the water. When we muddy the water up, then what happens is they're trying to sort the food out from the mud. So their food is like algae and bacteria, stuff that can actually harm us, like bacteria. So they're trying to separate all the particles from the mud. And so sometimes they're having to work extra hard, but at the same time they're also cleaning up our rivers and streams. But anytime we add pollutants to the water, pesticides, herbicides, any chemicals that affect the water quality, it goes to them first. And so they're a great indicator of how good the water actually is.
So this should tell us that here, this part of Eagle Creek, we've actually got some good water running through here.
Anytime you see freshwater mussels, you know they got to have some level of good water quality before they can survive.
And these guys, in the beer world, clean water is of paramount importance to us. Water is the #1 ingredient that goes into beer. So for us to have a good clean water source is extremely important to us, not only as Kentuckians, but in the brewing world. So these guys are actually they're cleaning, they're little feeders that are cleaning the water, filters that are cleaning the water for us.
In fact, just to give you an idea, in an area of this stream like we're looking at right here, it's nothing, 150, 200 years ago, this would have had thousands of mussels.
Really?
So, it would have been nowhere you could step without stepping on one of these mussels. And what's happened is, over time, we've developed the properties, we've polluted the streams, and the mussel has declined. And sometimes we've also put dams on rivers. Fortunately, there's not one on this stream, so actually the fish can migrate all the way from Kentucky River upstream, and then the mussels can kind of hitchhike on the fish and then drop off here. That's how they kind of repopulate the areas.
Right, and so they're actually hitchhiking on these fish.
That's right.
To be able to spread their populations out more and more. So interesting. Monty, what are some good, simple practices that people like myself, that I can tell my kids and friends, like everyday stuff that everyday folks can do to make sure that we're helping the water quality, or things that we should or shouldn't do? What are some easy things that we can do to make sure we're doing the best we can?
One of the best ways is just to educate people about wildlife in general, about what's in the streams. These mussels, they're filter feeders, so they're constantly pulling out any kind of substances that are in the water, the stuff that makes it muddy looking. They're actually filtering all that silt. So that silt has to come from somewhere. So just educating people about what causes erosion. Once that topsoil is gone from the landscape, it's not going to return for a long time. So just educating about rebuilding riparian zones, like a good vegetation around the stream, and that kind of slows the water down when it floods and stops the mud from getting in as much. Also just educating about polluting the water. We live in a toxic world today. Any harmful herbicides and pesticides, those things, when they get sprayed onto the landscape, as soon as it rains, that gets right into the streams, and then it goes straight to these mussels that are pulling in and filtering that. So just educating on anything at all that would cause sedimentation or any type of pollution. A lot of people think of pollution as more trash that they physically can see, but it's really the runoff pollution that causes the most problems. So oil is a big problem. Just imagine the city of Detroit, Michigan, and how many millions of gallons of oil could be over years dumped into the streams.
So it's important to dispose of that in proper channels.
Exactly. And clean water is key to mussels, and it's key to people.
Absolutely. And key to beer. Now in Kentucky, we're super blessed too. We have the Center for Mollusk Conservation and Research, where you work.
Right.
And one of the best facilities in the country, as I'm told. So we're going to go there and take these mussels back, and you're going to kind of give us a demonstration of what they're doing and show us kind of your all's conservation efforts that we're doing here in Kentucky to make sure that we're not only protecting what we have, but we're trying to reintroduce mussels back to the wild. Now we're back at the Forks of the Elkhorn here at the Center for Mollusk Conservation. Monty again. We're gonna get some of the mussels that we took from Eagle Creek in Scott County, and Monty, tell us what we're getting ready to do.
Well, we're going to do a really simple experiment. We're going to take 2 aquariums, one with mussels and one without, and we're going to muddy them both up at the same time and let the mussels do their job and show people that they can filter all the bad stuff out of the water in just a few minutes. And that's what we're going to do.
How long, I mean, this is gonna be some pretty cloudy water, right? How long do we think it's gonna take for them to make an impact?
Probably less than an hour. You will see, probably in 30 minutes, you'll see a little bit of difference. And then within an hour, it'll be crystal clear. That's
Awesome.
how good they do.
Let's get after it and see what we can do.
All right.
Molly, that was simply amazing, man. And like in an hour time, that water went from muddy to almost crystal clear. It's just amazing. I mean, that's what these things are doing in the streams all the time. Why is this so important?
Well, you know, everybody likes clean water. And one of the best ways we can do it is to let it clean up naturally. Mussels eat bacteria, which can kill us. They remove all the sediment out of the water, which we don't like to see. And it keeps fish from spawning and things like that. So they serve a really important function in the ecosystem by really keeping our water clean for us to drink.
And things like this are why the partnership with Country Boy Brewing, the Fish and Wildlife Department, and Kentucky Wild are so important to us. Clean water is paramount into making good, clean beer, and it's also paramount in making sure we're taking care of our natural resources here in Kentucky. So thank you so much for what you guys do. And if it's important to you to make sure that our water is clean and you want to get involved in this, please consider joining the Kentucky Wild Initiative. I promise you won't be disappointed.